This could be the first country to disappear into the sea. Welcome to Kiribati, the South Pacific nation made up of 33 small islands. No one knows how long people can live here if the global sea level continues to rise.
I just came back and
Tinaai lives on Tarawa, the main atoll. She shows me that high tides and storms are already wreaking havoc.
It comes up to here?
Yeah, like it's being eroded. And it's really fast, eh? And that's why we're always afraid of it, like having this high tides.
They work to stop the rising water with sand and cement. That works quite well as long as the weather stays calm, though it didn't earlier this year.
The first thing came is the king tide, and few weeks later, then the cyclone bam. We don't have these experiences before, but nowadays we're starting to experience this, and we see this with our own eyes, thinking that climate change, is real, is happening here in Kiribati.
The islands of Kiribati are so small they don't even show up on many world maps. The highest point on South Tarawa is just 10 feet above sea level. With flooding, salty seawater flows into the groundwater. For washing, the contaminated water is still good, but for drinking, the water can make people sick. Many people drink it anyway because they have no other choice. 2 months ago, Tinaai helped to set up rainwater tanks in this village. The tanks will gradually be built everywhere.
It's a big thing.
Previously, the children developed skin rashes from the well water. Now they feel better as long as it rains enough to fill the tanks.
I'm just thirsty.
So it's safe to drink, right?
This one is much better.
Many people in Kiribati are poor and unemployed. Climate change makes things worse because so many residents are dependent on locally grown fruit or coconuts. Breadfruit is a staple, but the trees die because there's too much salt in the soil and water.
The first thing, that's one of them.
Yeah.
The trees that died from this seawater, from the land and the people and the sea. Like, our relationship is really that strong. So we take from this, our life depends on this and that water. So if this destroyed, we're gonna be destroyed as well.
The sea is never more than a few steps or a jump away. Of course, Tinaai loves the ocean, and yet at the same time, it threatens her future.
The rise in sea level is quicker than before. So imagine if it's like every year. I feel scared about this. I just make the most of it, like enjoy myself here without thinking of the bad things in the future or what.
Experts believe that by the year 2100, the sea level could rise by up to 1 or even 2 meters. Such high water levels wouldn't only threaten Kiribati. People here call themselves I Kiribati. They have lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years. The temperature at night barely changes from the day, so most people sleep in traditional open huts. Tinaai studied abroad in Fiji, a 3-hour flight away, but she wanted to come back to fight for the future of her home. Directly behind Tinaai's garden, you can see one of the biggest problems of Kiribati. There's trash on the beach as far as the eye can see. Some was thrown there by residents and some washed up. It looks and smells disgusting.
Most of this rubbish is not from the environment. It's from the shop, or everything is from the Western countries, right? All the clothes, the plastic bags, from heating noodles, from heating rice, flour, heating these processed food, tin foods. That's a pity, and that's so it's very sad.
Because of climate change, they are limited on what they can grow themselves. So the Tinaai Kiribati have to import ever more. They haven't found the right solutions for all the waste yet. And where are they supposed to put everything? The main island is densely populated with around 50,000 residents, making up about half of the country's total. Many move here from other islands in hope of finding jobs and education for their children. And those that find a job often buy a car.
Whoa, we're stuck in traffic.
Fewer.
This is like being in a big city, not on a small island.
Yeah. Small but complicated. And they keep on buying their car.
So do you think maybe even here people don't care enough about climate change?
They don't care enough because they don't know. They don't know what climate change is.
Just like in other parts of the world, importing Western lifestyle can make everything worse. This bar also mixes Western and Pacific cultures. Here, a drink made from a plant called kava is more popular than alcohol and just as exhilarating. We're at the bar with Tinaai's friends. Many are activists who often talk about climate change.
My arm will fall off.
Some of her friends are members of KCCN, which is the boy band of the island.
So pick up your phone and answer.
Most of the people now, they are getting afraid and they want to flee from the country. And I could see, and I feel that it's going to be lost, right? This kind of togetherness, this culture, singing, dancing, it must be lost.
Not everyone here in Kiribati is convinced their country can still be saved. The government even has a program called Migration with Dignity. Part of the program involves preparing young people who lack the skills for the global labour market. And Kiribati's president spent more than €6 million for a parcel of land in Fiji that could house his people, just in case. It's a lot of money for the tiny nation.
So buying this land in Fiji and preparing migration with dignity, as you call it, isn't that somehow admitting defeat?
No, as a leader, it is my responsibility to provide all the options that I can come up with.
Some people have criticized the fact that you spent millions on that land in Fiji and that it would have been better spent here. What would you say to that?
I simply say they don't know what they're talking about because they're talking from a distance. We need them to come here. We are spending millions just putting sea defenses to protect the road. You can see that. That's millions of dollars already. And it won't protect the population in the future. And so we're talking about a huge amount of resources in order to deal with this. We, the countries affected, know because we are dealing with it. We're not dealing with it from a distance. It's not an academic, it's not a theoretical exercise, it's a practical way of trying to survive.
Millions flow to Kiribati in the form of development aid from abroad, largely from the countries that cause climate change. Tinaai wants to do more to stop climate change, so she works with Climate Action Network to educate others. But everyone here knows that things will only really change if the big countries emit radically less CO2. At numerous climate change conferences, Pelanisa Alufa argued exactly for that.
What do you expect from the climate conference in Paris now?
I'm not optimistic.
Why not?
Because I couldn't see any developed country taking a real big stand right now, on climate change to say, hey, yes, we'll do this. And I'm looking at America, the US and European countries. If they take a stand, everyone will follow. But they're not taking a stand.
And why is that, in your opinion?
They are not ready to do it. They do not want to change their lifestyle. These big countries are all into oil, I think their hands are tied, and they want to be tied. They're not prepared to leave it and move into renewable energies and move to something else. They're not prepared to do that. Because as long as they control the oil, they can control maybe the whole world.
We might be able to slow global warming, but experts are clear. No matter what we do from this point on, a certain amount of sea level rise is already locked in for our future. Tinaai knows this. Nevertheless, she's working to plant mangrove trees that have the ability to grow in very salty soil. Fully grown, these mangroves protect against coastal erosion and storm tides.
God is giving us this beautiful land, so it's our responsibility to look after it very carefully. Even the coastal erosion is happening, climate change is happening, it's for real in Kiribati, but still we're fighting, right? If you look down here, wow.
Maybe it's a fight that can no longer be won, but it's better to do something than just stand idly by and watch. Tinaai will take it one step further and attend the UN Climate Conference as a youth ambassador, where she will give a talk about how Kiribati is suffering from climate change. What's the probability that these children will grow old here, on their island? This could be the last generation of Kiribati here, or the first generation of climate refugees.
I don't want to move, no matter what, how big is climate change is, how scary it is to my life, but I won't leave, I won't leave, and because I just love my country, and I always proud of being a Kiribati, and I don't like leaving and moving away from here, from this place.
If they came here and if they saw what it's like, you think that would change something?
Yes, I think it would change everything. Because in their places, they live what they want and they do what they want, but they don't think about us because they haven't been here. They've never seen it, they've never heard about here, and they've never experienced such a beautiful life in here.
Tomorrow,
You don't have to go to Kiribati to know that our way of life harms the planet. Today, it's more important than ever, not just to know what to do, but to actually do it.
climate change is going strong. The rising wind again is wrong, and I cry, oh yeah, I cry to my Lord